All right, hello everyone. If you will, as you're joining, just give me a quick hello in the comments. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, let me know you're here. And if you're watching on Roku or Fire TV, just yell at the TV. Just kidding. I just always picture somebody yelling at it. But good, glad to have you. Either way you're watching, whether you can interact or not. Hope everyone's had a great day. We'll get started here in just a moment. As you can see on the screen, our theme tonight is Psalms or Proverbs. So I'm going to test your knowledge a little bit here on where some of these verses came from, whether they came from Psalms or whether they came from Proverbs. I'm going to wait just a bit longer and then we'll get started. Once you join, if you will, give me a quick hello. Let me know you're here. And we'll go ahead and get started in just a moment. Hi, Will. Glad to have you with us tonight. Thanks for letting me know you're here. Hey, Carol. All right. I'm going to wait just a moment longer and then we will get started. Alright, everything seems to be working, so we'll go ahead and get going. And I'll say it one more time, just in case somebody joined a little late. If you join, just give me a quick hello in the chat and let me know you're here. And just helps kind of know who's on, who's not. Sometimes Facebook will tell me someone's here if you're on Facebook. Sometimes it doesn't. And YouTube won't tell me you're here unless you give me a comment. I will also mention here in a moment when we start playing the game, I'm going to set up to where the Facebook comments will come through on the screen. So if you don't want your comments going through on the screen for in your own Facebook, then be aware you may not want to put your comments in. But that'll be kind of fun so everybody can see what's going on, at least with one of them. And so we're going to go and get started then. So if I can get this worked out. Well, the way this is going to work is, let's see here. All right, there we go. No, not that. All right. There's where your comments will show up if you're on Facebook. The way it's going to work is I'm going to give you a verse, and you tell me whether it's Psalms, came from the book of Psalms, or whether it came from the book of Proverbs. The interesting thing about these two books, obviously Psalms is considered a book of poetry, and Proverbs is considered a book of wisdom. And a lot of them overlap in terms of when they were written. A lot of the Psalms were written by King David, and so obviously during his reign and his lifetime would have been when some of those were written. A large number of the Proverbs were written by Solomon, who was David's son. And so obviously their reigns there overlap because Solomon took over after David died. And so both those, the Psalms obviously were written over a number of years and compiled as well as the Proverbs. But they would have, been very close in time frame to when each other were written. And so they're very similar in that regard because of that. So anyway, enough talking about Psalms and Proverbs. Our first verse here is, "Who can find a virtuous woman, for her price is far above rubies?" You think that comes from Psalms or Proverbs? Another good thing about this format is you have a 50-50 chance. I always like that because it gives me some hope that I can get it right. All right, Carol says Proverbs. Christy says Proverbs. That's Christy on the New Hebrew Missionary Baptist Church thing there. Nobody else is commenting yet, so we will go ahead and reveal this one. I apologize for sipping my drink so much. I was really battling my allergies this week, and my throat is giving me problems. And we seem to have a consensus so far and they are correct. This passage comes from Proverbs chapter 31. You may remember that from the passage referred to as the virtuous woman, and so that is found in the book of Proverbs. Our next challenge: be still and know that I am God. I think that comes from Psalms, or do you think it comes from Proverbs? Very well-known passage of Scripture, but no one knows that we hear and maybe don't realize where it comes from so much. But be still and know that I am God. All right, Christy's saying she thinks it's in Psalms. Any other votes? Alright, Carol's saying Psalms as well. Not seeing any others come in. We'll go ahead and give this answer. That is Psalms. Psalm 46, verse 10. So good job so far. I thought I might stump somebody on some of these, but you guys are getting them all the way around. But some good advice there, huh? I want to really stop and think when things are going tough, when things are going super fast, and life just seems to be blitzing by. I mentioned this morning that next Sunday is August 2nd. It's hard to believe we're already to August. Things just fly by, and God's challenging us to take some time to be still and recognize who He is and what He's doing. Next passage. Better is little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble therewith. You think that's found in Psalms or Proverbs? Better is little with the fear of the Lord than great treasure and trouble therewith. And I think we can all see that in times when we look at maybe people who are in the spotlight. And you see them, and you see people who have plenty of wealth and plenty of treasure, if you want to call it that, and not always happy. There's not a correlation there between having wealth and being happy. Oftentimes, you can have both of those, obviously, but there are also plenty of people who don't have much and are happy, who don't have much and are not happy, and saying there that we're better off to live modestly and have respect for who God is and to follow Him than we are to have great treasure and to have all the trouble that we know can come along in this life. All right, so catch up. Carol's saying Psalms on this one. All right. No one else has commented on this one yet, I don't think. All right.
Carolina said Proverbs.
Oh, Carol just said Psalms.
Mine says you said Proverbs.
She said Proverbs on the last one. Maybe some lag here, so that may be what's messing everybody up. But you haven't voted on this one yet. Hadn't come to me yet, did. All right, so the answer on this one, Proverbs. Proverbs 15:16. So, interesting. Maybe I'm just not scrolling my comments. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe it's user... Oh, there it is, user error. All right. Christian was trying to tell me it was there. Like, no, it's not. All right, so now I see these comments coming in. Both of you said Proverbs. Hey, Christy, you both voted Proverbs.
Okay.
All right, so we got that one right, even though I didn't know you got it right. Proverbs 15, verse 16. All right, I'll see if I can keep those comments scrolling then. I didn't think I had to do anything there. Next verse. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. Is that Proverbs or Psalms? Psalms or Proverbs? Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord. In His word doth he meditate day and night. All right, Christy's going with Psalms, and Carol's going with Psalms. All right. These are the two that are commenting the most, then we will... I just saw where Miss Judy's commenting. Okay, sorry, Miss Judy. I didn't mean to leave you out there, but I didn't see the YouTube comments coming in. All right, so Miss Judy voted Proverbs on the last one, and I think she's voting Proverbs on this one. Since I didn't see the time frame there, I could be off on that. But all right, so it looks like 3 people are voting Proverbs for this. No, I'm sorry. I'm still mixing that up. Trying to keep up with the comments is not my specialty tonight. All right, I think that was from the last question then. All right, anyway, we'll just give you the answer. Y'all can decide whether you got it right or not, because I obviously can't keep track of who's saying what for which question. But it is Psalms, Psalm chapter 1 and verse 1. And it's a challenge to us. It's interesting there because it is kind of a bit of wisdom is being shared there. But there in Psalm 1, it's really saying that as a praise to God and talking about who He is and what He's done in our life. All right, I see Miss Judy's quote comment now on Psalms. I think everybody got that last one correct then. I'm just getting a little bit of lag and not seeing it in time. So, all right, next one. We'll keep it going. Enter into His gates with thanksgiving and into His courts with praise. Be thankful unto Him and bless His name. Is that found in Psalms or Proverbs? Enter into His gates with thanksgiving and into His courts with praise. Be thankful unto Him and bless His name. All right. I got 2 answers so far, both agreeing with each other. Oh, and 3. All right, everybody saying Psalms for this one? All right, you must know which one it is. That's Psalm 100. That is a pretty common psalm, especially around Thanksgiving. But yes, that's one of the Psalms. Enter into His gates with thanksgiving, into His courts with praise. Be thankful unto Him and bless His name. All right, next one. How much better it is to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather to be chosen than silver. Is that Psalms or Proverbs? All right. If I do this game again, I have to alternate it to where you're guessing between 2 books and then 2 different books, so I can kind of keep track of who's saying what with which answer. All right, see some answers coming in there. All right, some say Proverbs, some say Psalms, I believe. And the answer is, nope, everybody said Proverbs on that one. Okay, I just saw that answer pop in over here. So Proverbs 16:16. Much better is it to get wisdom than gold, and to get understanding rather than to be chosen than silver. You know, if you have a choice between getting silver or getting some understanding, or getting rich or getting wisdom, the writer of Proverbs there is saying, go with wisdom every time. Obviously, as I mentioned, Solomon wrote a lot of those Proverbs that are there. Not all of them, but many of them. And when God came to him and offered to give him something as a token, as a gift, Solomon asked for wisdom, and that proved to be the best thing he could have asked for, because God granted it to him, and through that, obviously, Solomon was one of the great leaders in history, and had Israel there at the peak of the world during his reign. All right, next verse. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. I think that's Psalms or Proverbs. If I'm keeping track of these right, I don't think I've tricked anybody yet. I think you've got them all right, if I was understanding who was voting what when. Trying to watch these comments. My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck. Isn't that so true, though? Having a good mother and father can really make all the difference. And talks about being an ornament of grace to the head and chains about the neck. Having good parents will definitely have an impact throughout our entire life. All right, so I'm seeing Proverbs going through here. I believe everyone has voted that. And everyone is correct. Proverbs 1, verses 8 and 9. So a lot of the Proverbs, obviously, it might have been an easy one for you because of the fact he says, my son. A lot of the Proverbs are written that way. It says, hear this, my son, and pass along wisdom there to the reader. Just kind of a tidbit if you're interested. The book of Proverbs is one I've been wanting us to go through at some point, and I've really struggled with it because I like to just preach expositionally through a book of the Bible, and Proverbs is one of those that's kind of a challenge for me because it doesn't just cover one thing and then move to the next and move to the next. It'll cover a topic, cover another topic, come back, cover the same topic it covered before, cover a different topic, and it kind of jumps around in that regard, at least from my perspective and the way I look at it. It's obviously written in exactly the order it's supposed to be, but trying to put it into something. So that's been an interesting thing. As Proverbs is, there's a lot of nuggets there that one verse to the next may not really be about the same thing, and so it's kind of a challenge from a preaching standpoint. But I do want us to go into Proverbs at some point pretty soon because I could definitely use some additional wisdom in my life. All right, next verse. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. Is that Psalms or Proverbs? Some trust in chariots, some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. A good challenge, isn't it? Where are we putting our trust? We putting our trust in the latest technology, which is what they had then. The chariots and horses were their best technology for war at the time. Or are we really trusting in God to pull us through whatever battle we're facing? Psalms or Proverbs? All right. Got an answer over here. Yeah, it seems to be automatically moving the comments up for me. All right, I got 2 people saying Psalms so far. And Carol agrees. I obviously made this a little too easy for y'all. Y'all are getting every one of these right. Psalm 20, verse 7. Some trust in chariots, some in horses. We will remember the name of the Lord our God. All right, next verse. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. Is that Psalms or Proverbs? No matter what the danger is, whether it's things you can't see at night that might be frightening, or just dangers of going out during the day, says that we're not to be afraid of that. God is watching over us any situation we're in. All right. Got 2 votes in so far, both saying Proverbs. We'll see if Christy agrees or not. Nope, she goes to go with Psalms on this one. All right, so we'll see. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day. Hope I was seeing those comments at the right time there. Psalm 91:5. And so I don't know who got that one right or who didn't. I'm guessing there, but all right. And oops, every time I move that over, it brings up a little bit about our church. Last verse for us to try to guess what it is. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not on thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Is that found in Psalms or Proverbs? I really thought this would be a little tougher for everybody. I didn't expect you to get these so quickly because they're so easily. Because to me, the theme of them kind of feel the same. Sometimes it's hard to look at a verse and say, yes, that's Psalms, or yes, that's Proverbs. Like I say, a few of them, my son, that sort of stuff, a lot of times those end up being Proverbs, or if it really sounds that feel of of a bit of wisdom type of a thing. Sometimes it's Proverbs, but sometimes it's kind of hard for me to tell whether it's part of a psalm or whether it's part of the Proverbs. So I've been real impressed that you guys have had such an easy time with this game. Hopefully it was challenging enough. All right. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not on thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path. Everybody's saying Proverbs for this one, and that would be correct. Proverbs 3, verses 5 to 6. So, wow. I guess that's fantastic scores there. I certainly couldn't try to tell you what everyone got because I was a little confused on a couple times which answers I was seeing with which questions, but it looks like everybody got almost all of them, if not all of them. So excellent work there. But I wanted to play this game, Psalms versus Proverbs, because both of those sections of Scripture really give us a lot of wisdom, a lot of insight to handling things. The Psalms are filled with prayers to God for His help, for His direction, for His protection. The Proverbs are filled with things for us to be mindful of, things for us to avoid, things for us to keep in mind as we're going through our day-to-day life. And aren't you glad that we serve a God that's there to give us guidance, that's there to give us wisdom, and there to give us direction? That's what I love about this passage in Proverbs 3. It says, trust in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not on thine own understanding, in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. He will give you the direction you need. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it. Sometimes we may feel like we're waiting for answers, we're waiting for direction, but God is still at work, and he still has a plan, and he will reveal that plan to us. There's another passage of Scripture, James 1, verses 5 and 6, where James says this, says, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask of God, to give it to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given him. But let him ask in faith, nothing wavering. For he that wavereth is like a wave of the sea, driven with the wind and tossed. And James is saying that if we need wisdom, if we're saying, I really don't know what to do, I really don't know which direction to go next, I wish I had some help, that God's there waiting to help us. And I think so many times, the times that I make bad choices, the times I didn't slow down, stop, and really either didn't ask God for direction or didn't listen and wait for the answer for him to give to me. Because it says if we ask, he'll give it to us. That word liberally there is one that just means simply, just he does it. He doesn't kind of hold back, he doesn't negotiate, well, I'll do this, if that. We ask him for wisdom, he gives it to us. It says upbraideth not. He doesn't come back to us with kind of any kind of condescension or try to give us a hard time about it. He's there just willing to give us direction. And I don't know about you, but to me that's an encouragement. To know that we have a God that if you lack direction in an area of your life right now, go to him. He will give you an answer. He will give you direction. He will, as the book of Proverbs said there, direct your paths. So I hope you have a great week. This has been a little bit short this evening. I didn't think we'd go as fast as we did up to those passages, but I didn't stump any of you with them, so I guess it went a lot faster. But I hope you have a great week. I hope it's one of direction. If you are struggling with something, seek God's help. Seek God's direction, because He wants to help us out. He wants to give us wisdom. He wants to see His children succeed, His children flourish, His children grow in their walk with Him. And so ask, as James says, and don't ask with a wavering face. Well, I'm going to ask, but I don't know if He'll tell me. He says, no, go into it saying, you know what? God has promised He's going to give me direction. He will give me direction. And I hope you have a great week. If I can be of help anyway this week, let me know. And so glad you were here. And look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good night. God bless.